Hey, what is up, guys? And welcome back to another Magic the Gathering online league. We're back once again with Eldrazi Basking Broodscale combo on the play for game one, and we have the win on turn 3 with the exception of a green source. I will keep. Yeah, we just need a green source, right? Because we go turn 1 trigger, turn 2 flesh rake, turn 3 3 mana green. Yeah, we just need a green source. Okay. So I'll go Saga trigger and pass. And pass. Marsh Flats. And pass. There's the green source. Okay. I mean, this is a turn 3 win if everything plays correctly. So I'll go Glaring Flesh Rake. And pass. Do you have interaction? There's a Blood Crypt, Shock, Fatal Push? No, red. Tarfire, similar. Now the good news here is we should still have the win turn 3 thanks to K command, but do we have enough mana to make it happen? I have enough to adapt, so I have 4. We can equip. I might not have enough for the win next turn is the problem, right? Am I crazy for thinking that? Well, regardless, there's a Soul Cauldron. I will float. I will grab Blade of the Bloodsheaf. So now I do have a forest. I can play the Broodscale. I can equip. But I have no way of actually generating any spawns is the problem now. So maybe it's smart for me to instead just to play the Delighted Halfling. So let me just confirm my suspicions. I cast, I equipped, then nothing. I don't have a Ballista in hand to go off. And I don't have a second green source in order to adapt. So if we go Halfling Soul Cauldron... Well, actually, hold on. Basking Broodscale... No, it'd still be short because we don't have the ability to cast Aggie. So yes, I'm going to go Halfling. And then Aggie. Probably should have done that in the reverse, just that way we could have theoretically have protected the Halfling if needed. I'll hold out the ability to respond on the off chance it's relevant. Is this a Bowmaster? It is a Bowmaster. Target me, I imagine. Targets me. Do we want to get rid of the Tarfire in Yard? Could that be relevant right now? There's right now only 3 types in Yards. No Delirium, but we can always get rid of it if needed. If my opponent taps out, we win. They have to know we have the Broodscale. Ugh. Now we need to hope that we keep the command and Broodscale. They're going to ping down the Halfling too. Oh no, we miss on 2 Broodscale. Okay, so we're going to lose out on the Halfling. They guaranteed that. At the very least, we can get rid of the Detective's Phoenix. And that way, they can't then or they can't then haste something out. So, a bit unfortunate. Halfling does die regardless. Yeah, the fact that it hit 2 Broodscale is rough. Hollow one. We now have no blockers either. There's the Mako. Another inquiry? Okay, well this just gets rude, but it could draw me into the win. Okay, Rumble could get me there. They did give Mako haste. So, I mean, I can't do anything at this point, so I'm hands off. At this point, send it. We have a second forest, so yes. Do we have enough? There's Grove. We need the second forest regardless. So if I go Rumble... Even if I Rumble, do I have enough for what I want? Because we can't go green. We have to tap the temple. So let's tap the temple forest. Okay, we hit the Broodscale, sure. But now we're going to be 1 mana off, aren't we? Because I can play the forest, play the Basking Broodscale. But now what? I can exile a card in the yard, put a counter on Broodscale, triggering it. But we have no way thereafter to actually do anything with it. Yeah. The only way would have been if I had a Ballista in yard, right? Because then we could have Agatha Soul Cauldron on Walking Ballista, or Agatha Soul Cauldron, target Ballista, counter on Broodscale, trigger Broodscale, Blade of Bloodchief. No, even then it wouldn't matter. We'd still wouldn't have any way to actually... Yeah, that's so unfortunate. You're so close. So yeah, if we, let's say, target Delayed Halfling, it triggers. I can then equip, but equip does nothing. Right? We equip. Unfortunately, because I have Summoning Sickness, we can't use it to tap for the mana. And now we can't activate. Yep, okay. You got it. Even if we had Ballista, it still wouldn't matter, would it have? Would it have mattered? No, it would have mattered because, yeah, if we had Ballista, we exile and then sack to equip. The benefit there would have been if we then take off the token, ping the Bowmaster, then it creates another token, then we win. So we needed to specifically hit Broodscale and Ballista, and we whiffed on the Ballista. Rough. This one's a bit interesting Soul Guide Lantern's probably the right call here in the Urza Saga slot. Veil of Summer is kind of interesting because it does do wonders against Bowmaster and Thoughtseize, right? Spells you control can be countered. You and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and black. So maybe Veil of Summer's right. The question is what to cut. I mean, they have enough removal to shake a stick at, so like Halfling's kind of fragile here. Aggie's good. Obviously, don't want to be cutting Broodscale or Flesh Rake. We could cut some number of Emrakul, but Emrakul can get pretty cheap pretty quick, so maybe just cut a couple Halfling. Question is, do we want Dismember? Is Dismember relevant enough? I mean, it can hit relevant cards. We can at least cut a Gemstone since we're on to play. Maybe keep another Halfling. Either that or bring in Dismember. But I think we keep as is. Not sure if Dismember is right here. Yeah, we'll keep it like this. I do wonder if maybe they might play like a Blood Moon. So maybe Thief of Existence would have been correct. I'll be on to play for game 2. So looking at this, this does give us a Blade of the Blood Chief on 3 again. But no guarantees on the Flesh Raker is the only concern. Yeah, we can play Agatha's Soul Cauldron, but just having Sagas alone is a bit sketch. I mean, what makes this hand good specifically would be a Temple, which we only have 4 of in the deck. We also need a green source. Yeah, I think we mulligan this one. Okay, we have the Broodscale, we have the Ballista, we have the Saga. I'll keep this one, pitch the Emrakul, because the Vista gets us a Stirring. The Stirrings finds us a land. But we need to play Saga on 1, though, if we wanted to get Blade on 3. But is Blade on 3 really that important? If we get a 3rd land, we equip. Okay, yes, it is important. Okay, so yes, we want to go Blade on 3. So we're going to go to main, play Saga, and pass. Because now if we get Blade on 3, we can win with a Ballista or a Command. Unless they Thoughtseize. There's a Mako. Well, there's a Blade. So we can go Prismatic Vista and fetch. Grab a forest. The question now is, do we play the Basking Broodscale right now or do we wait? We might want to wait just to get them to tap out, ideally. So we try and find a land. Yeah, I guess we'd need to find a land anyways, wouldn't we? Because, yeah, we need a 3rd land. So yeah, we can wait a turn at the Basking Broodscale. Actually, no, can we? No, because if we do it on turn 3, then... Yeah, so I guess I do need to cast Basking Broodscale now. Okay. Basking Broodscale. We need to draw into 3rd land. We have nothing else we can do, so we'll just pass in full. There's Faithless Loot. So we need to draw into the 3rd land. If we can do that, we win. I mean, we're on 23, so we have 20 lands in deck. So you have a bit better than a 33% chance. There's a land. Do you have interaction? Go to combat. I'll take the 3. Draw. We whiff on the land. We'll grab the Blade of the Bloodchief. Okay. So, how do we want to do this? If we equip the blade, we can Stirrings. In fact, we can still win through this all by simply playing the Ballista. I really wish we had another land, because then we at least could hold up for an adapt. Yeah. So I think we just equip the blade. And then we X0 Ballista. Shoot. So they have interaction. Blood Crypt, Shock, and Bolt. No way for interaction, so that dies. Ballista and Yard. Ancient Stirrings. So there's another Broodscale. The problem is that I need lands here. Because even if we grab the Broodscale, then what, right? Thing is, that means we only have 2 Broodscales on the top half of our deck. Whereas we might have more lands in the top half instead. So, like, chance-wise, the Broodscale is probably better. I'll go Broodscale. And then pass. Next problem, once again, is how to trigger the Broodscale. We have the command, but we don't want to use that if we can help it. Because now we need to use it to dig deeper. Yeah, so one thing about this deck, it's just really, really fragile to cheap removal. It does make me think either Snakeskin Veil or the one MDFC might actually be worth it. But the question is what to cut for it. I feel like 23 lands is correct. Maybe we go down on lands? What would we cut for it? Maybe 2 groves? Not sure if that's right, though. So we draw into a land. We play Broodscale. But do we just die to Mako? It's going to become a 5/5 and a 3/3. Maybe it would have been right for me to go for the temple so I could command at least. Command only slows the bleeding, though. Yeah, we had 2 really good hands. Both turn 3 wins, and we just weren't able to execute. So what would need to change in order to make that work? Interesting, we pitch a hollow one. 1 card left in hand. Go down to 11. I need a land off the top. Oh, actually that's concerning because they can grow those by 2. That's 8. 2 each puts it at 12. So they have lethal damage on board if we don't have a block or a way to remove. That is an issue. Oh, there's Grove. I think we just lose now, though. I can play the Blade of the Blood Chief and then do nothing else. All they need to do is fetch Bloodstained Mire and then Faithless Looting and they win, right? It doesn't matter what they pitch, they just win. Yeah. So maybe the Eldrazi Temple was correct, though I guess at the time I didn't know about the second Mako. So I couldn't have guessed they would just win on the spot. Huh. Yeah. He says I need another land here. Yep, Faithless Looting, they draw 2, pitch 2. Doesn't matter what they pitch, they now win. Because they're going to go from 8 power up to 12 for lethal damage. Huh. Unfortunate. You need one more turn in a land, basically. If I had went for the Temple over the Broodscale, we'd have just the Ballista. Temple next turn actually would have given us the win. Oh no. Because, yeah, we played Temple. Temple, green, Broodscale. Broodscale adapt. I guess we wouldn't even need to adapt. You just, at that point, equip Blade 2. Walking Ballista 0. Trigger Blade. Go infinite, command infinite, find glaring, go through our entire deck, find glaring flesh rake, and then win. Yeah. Overall, I mean, like, the deck performed well. It has had too much interaction for us to manage. So maybe some form of protection would be wise. Like I said, maybe take out some number of Grove for the MDFC or for Snakeskin Veil. Things to consider, things to think about. With that said, we'll be back for match 2. Alright, and we're back for match 2 on the play for game 1. Let's take a look. This hand's looking good. We have Halfling. If we play Broodscale... Okay, so we find a land. We find a land on 2. Do we win? No, we'll be short. Yeah, we'll be short 1. So I'll keep. Draw. Grove. Halfling. Pass. And pass. Scouting Tarn, fetch. Steam Vent Shock. Discharge. Could be Jeskai Energy. Draw. So I need a land now. We find our land. The question now becomes... I mean, I think we just go Basking Broodscale. So I'm going to crack Vista. We're going to get a second colorless source in the way of a waste. Cast the Broodscale. And pass. As long as Broodscale remains on board when we go to my turn, we can win. So we play Blade, we equip Blade, we cast Ballista, it dies, triggering Broodscale. We go through the loop, command for either Agatha Soul Cauldron or Glaring Flesh Rake, and win. Sacred Foundry Shock. Preordain. What am I playing against? It's Jeskai something. I guess it could be Jeskai Control, the energy variant. They do found that Galvanic Discharge. So Broodscale dies as a result. Draw. Emrakul. I guess we could play Might. We could play Blade. Ballista might be okay. Just go Ballista X1. Yeah, we'll go Ballista X1. And pass, hold up the Blade to respond. Next turn we can equip Blade to Ballista. Or we can play the Might as another attacker. Opponent passes. No land drop. We do find Saga, that's relevant. And then let's go to attacks. Attack with Ballista. Down to 15. Play a Haywire Might. Play a Blade of the Bloodchief. Equip Blade of the Bloodchief to Walking Ballista. And pass. And pass. Nothing I can do at this point. Opponent misses another land drop. Pain cost. Orange Chant. I can't cast anything, but that's fine. Trigger another Ballista. I will go to combat and attack with both. And pass. Hold up the ability to respond. I mean, might just go Saga Beats here. Opponent misses another land drop. Saga. There's a casual 4/4. Draw. Plays another Chant. Draw. Vista. I think I just make another construct here. Grab another Blade. Play Vista. So now I can attack with all. 5. If I sacrifice the Haywire Might, if I equip Blade of Bloodchief to you, play Ballista for 0. Trigger would only put you down to 2. Yeah, so I think we just hold off then. And pass. Lethal's very much on board, so unless they have a way to sweep and or kill, we got it. So definitely feeling like Jeskai Control, win for game 1. This does feel like the energy variant, which I haven't seen a lot of recently. Regardless, I imagine maybe some Stony Silence, some walkers. So Thief of Existence feels good. Veil of Summer similarly feels good. Pithy Needle might be relevant for a walker. Would even be good against, let's say, Isochron Scepter for the chant lock. And we can actually get around that pretty well. So what do we cut is the next question. I'm going to say Emrakul, Ballista, and maybe some number of Halfling. Like that. Alright. Yeah, so I'm trying to think here. I guess we also could have cut like a land. Cavern Soul is good though. Double Saga, double Blade, no triple, double Saga, triple Blade, Ballista. I mean, theoretically speaking, if we were to draw into a green source, we have 4, 8, 11 green sources, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, that's roughly a 25%, or not 25, a 20% chance per draw. 11 out of 54. It's not bad odds. It is just a bit awkward, right? Because we rumble, try and find the... whatchamacallit? Broodscale. I'll keep it. I like my 20% chance per draw. We see 2 draws. As long as we find a land, we can get a construct on board. And pass. I'd like a land off the top because then we can go land, then Saga. There's our land, and that's our green source too. So land, Blade. See if they counter it. They don't. So now all we need is the Basking Broodscale. And pass. There's the Springs, and they're going to bolt it. So they have a counter spell maybe. Stirrings. I mean, Stirrings is cheaper than Rumble and digs deeper. So I will play Saga Trigger. Though if we want to go Basking Broodscale, Malevolent Rumble might be better. Because we'll need 3... Well, no, we'll need 4, won't we? Because Basking Broodscale equip, we need 5. Let's try... The thing is, Rumble gets hit by more counter magic in the way of Spell Snare. So let's go Stirrings. See if we can get through. Or force them to use a force. There's the Basking Broodscale. I will play another Blade. And pass. We're going to hold 1. It might have been right to actually hold both of them. In case of a Wrath of the Skies. But at least we hold 1. Not to mention Saga will eventually trigger to hold another, but the problem is Saga will die to Wrath. So we hope they don't play a white source into a Wrath X1. That would kinda suck. Preordain. I mean, if they have an orange chant, that's okay. We can then make a construct next turn. Still very... The board state's still very fragile to a Wrath, though, which does make me a bit anxious. Sporadic Springs and Bolt again. Pain cost. There's March. So Saga down. Draw. There's Halfling. And I'm fairly certain if I just go Broodscale, they're going to counter it with a consign to memory. So if we go Saga and then attempt a Rumble, will that help me? No matter what, we would definitely play a Saga. If we Broodscale, they counter it with Consign, but at least Consign's out of hand. Otherwise, we can use Halfling the ramp. That way we can make a construct guaranteed next turn. Or we can Rumble. I think I will go Halfling. And then equip Blade the Halfling and pass. We know they have a Consign or a Spell Snare in hand based on the springs being bolted in. Play an Arena of Glory. Okay. No double white though, which is good. But the Halfling does mean we can make a construct and kind of play it a bit patient. There's Tef. Tef bounces the Saga, that's rude. Holds up the springs. A second Saga. I'm gonna go to combat. I'm going to attack the Tef. Tef down. I think at this point we're forced just to play into the counterspell of Basking Broodscale. So there's the consign as predicted. I'll pass and pass. A land. They can now grab a second white source. That would be pretty devastating right now. Gemstone Caverns is good. I think I prefer that over the second Saga, to be honest. I'll play the Gemstone, and I think we hold here and just attack. I mean, if they have a Solitude, they can just kill the Halfling regardless. So yeah, I think we just attack with the Halfling. And then hold for the Saga. Fetch of the Flooded Strand. Heh. Excuse me? What? Targets? I'll make a construct and pass. So I suppose if we get a chance to grab Pith, we then will Pith naming Deceiver Exarch. Huh. I mean, if they have the Splinter Twin, they win. Well, that was unexpected, I'll be real. Alright. You do you now. That was not something I accounted for here, I'll be honest. So they need to more or less make, what, 21 copies? Did I have any recourse there, short of getting Pithing Needle naming Exarch? I don't think so. And that is something really important to remember. You don't name Splinter Twin. The enchanted creature has the ability. So you need to name Exarch in order for Pith to work here. Fascinating. And I did not expect Exarch. Alright, I'll let you burn some clock. No reason for me not to let you. Huh. Well, can't really say I could have done anything differently. Wild. Well, that's good to know. What do we have in sideboard for this, if anything? I don't really think we have anything for it specifically. I guess we have Force of Vigor. Dismember. So we might want to bring in some number of Dismember. I guess we could consider Force. Maybe bring Might back in? I guess Pith hits a wider array of cards, though, between Deceiver, Exarch, and Planeswalkers. Interesting. Well, that's still going to be a loss for game 2, guaranteed. We'll cut the Gemstone Caverns. Currently have, what, 10, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You have the win. At least I believe you have enough, but you keep on doing you. Interesting. Yeah, thought it was going to be more traditional control, but clearly I was wrong. I'm not sure it really changes the way I approach the game, though. Okay, my dude, you definitely have enough now. All you need is 21 copies. Thank you. Yep. I'll take the hit. Not much to do. Okie dokie. On to game 3. So yeah, Pith is still relevant. Because Haywire Might only gets rid of one copy of Splinter Twin, whereas Pith gets rid of the ability for them to use Splinter Twin on any Exarch. And I'm doubtful they have a backup like Pestermite in the deck. Veil Summer's still relevant. We cut the Gemstone Cavern. I mean, Dismember is good, but I'm not sure if, like, Exarch's their main game plan. I guess I didn't see any other win cons in their deck from that. So, like, maybe cut one Aggie Soul and then run it like this. The alternative is Force of Vigor. But again, better to kill the Exarch than it is to kill the Splinter Twin. Trying to think if we have anything else. We don't, so I think we run it like this. Fascinating. Alright, on the play for game 3. So we have Broodscale, and we have multiple ways to find our combo. I will keep. We can go Cavern of Souls, name Eldrazi. I do need an actual green source, however, at some point. Again, we have like a 20% chance per draw of finding one. Waste. I will play the Broodscale. And pass. Let's see if you have a Galvanic Discharge. Probably why you bolted, I'd imagine. Or shocked, rather. But I'm willing to call that bluff. Fetch the Scouting Tarn. Steam Vent Shock. Stony Silence. Did I bring in Thief? I feel like I did. Yes, I did. Good. Fortunately, that does shut off Aggie Soul Cauldron. There's the Vista that we needed. Forest. I will rumble. There's Blade of the Blood Chief, but currently we can't do anything with it is the problem. So the Saga might be better in order to grab Pith. I'll grab the Saga. We can't play it this turn though. And then we'll pass. Aggie Soul isn't doing anything for us. Not with Stony's Silence on board. I guess I should hold up the ability to respond in case they do feel the need. Oh no. So we do have a slight problem here. They have Exarch. Target. Oh, actually, this is fine. This is better. If they go Orange Chant, that's fine. Yes, this is okay. Because we now have X equals 3. Yes. They go Saga, trigger. And now we have Command X3 to deal with Exarch. Let's see if they try and go for the kill. There's the trainers. They don't have the kill just yet. I could just go Command X3 now. Exile the Exarch. Is there any reason not to? They don't have the blue mana to cast anything in response. And they clearly don't have the Splinter Twin. There's Flesh Rake, there's Needle, there's Saga. Another Saga might be nice. Needle's okay. Flesh Rake would be for the kill. So I'm gonna say problem is we need to get rid of that Stony Silence regardless, otherwise we really aren't doing anything anyways. So if I go bottom, top, pass. Because again, then we can Flesh Rake name, or Flesh Rake Needle name, but then now they have the March. Ew. I guess they might March the Saga. Rip. That's not ideal, but okay. I mean, we can keep this Needle in our back pocket. We don't need to play it. At least not yet. Instead, play Ancient Stirrings. A second Flesh Rake is pretty good. Any order, and then pass. Because Flesh Rake can do a lot of damage by itself. There's their fourth land, 3 unknowns in hand. If they have the Exarch, that's fine, because then we can Flesh Rake into Needle. Paying cost for a Splinter Twin on Trainer. There's a Blade of the Blood Chief. So always yes. Always yes. Resolve. I will cast a Blade of the Blood Chief. Stack. Stack. We might just be able to kill them here. And you can't exactly tap right now. Cast Pith. Trainer in response. There's a Preordain. I don't think a Preordain's going to help you. And we'll name Thunder Trap Trainer. But this will be lethal damage. Always yes. Rather, always yield. Onto the stack it goes. And we got there. Yeah, I mean, the Glaring Flesh Rakes on their own are kind of nutty sometimes. So, when in doubt, just mid-range it out. With that said, we'll be back for match 3. Alright, and we're back for match 3 on the draw for game 1. So we have Ballista, we have Command, both are combo pieces. We're missing Broodscale and Blade, which are the 2 major pieces. Between those and Saga, which act as Blade 5 through 8, we have 12 hits off the top. I'll keep this. And pass. Unswept Teeth, fetch. Imagine for Ace, was it? I know it was going to be a Shockline, but I was expecting red-white for energy. Could still be energy for Guide of Souls. No, it's Hammer. Okay. That makes this interesting. I do like seeing the half lane. I don't want to give them draws if I can help it. I'll pass. Vista can find a way so we can cast the K command if necessary. There's Thop. There's Opal. If they have the Pure Steel, this could be an issue. Do you have a hammer? Really? Shadow Spear. That's fine. Do you have a hammer? Well, I guess you can't play the hammer at this point. So, yeah, that's pretty good. They equip, Lifelink Trample, we won't block now, and it also costs us 2 now to ensure that they don't. Oofta. No blocks. Draw. There's an Emrakul. I think we go Forest and then Stirrings, pay the 2 and pass, and hope they don't have the hammer. The alternative is to go Command, or go Prismatic Vista Hold. Excuse me. I think we go Stirrings and pay the 2. I'll pay the 2. There's Glaring Flesh Rake. Flesh Rake can make blockers. So I'll go Flesh Rake. And pass. Excuse me. And pass. Let's hope you don't have the hammer. Shock or tap? Tap means you don't have much in hand. I'm worried about like a Tameo safekeeping or just something to protect the Sentinel. Now that they have mana. There's a guard as aid, but clearly don't have any equipment. Rumble. I'll play the Vista. I'm gonna fetch. Down to 13. Waste. So we could Flesh Rake here. And that way, unless they have something to equip this Sentinel, they're likely not to block, or not to attack. The alternative is to Rumble and then pay the 2. We then have a blocker, but let's have Trample is the only issue. The next alternative is to play Ballista X2 and threaten to kill it. Maybe that might be the safer play. X equals 2. And pass. So if they threaten to attack, we can block it. And then if they play the hammer, we can ping down whatever they try and put it on. Block. I'm willing to sacrifice the Ballista, because that gets the Sentinel off board, and that tells me you don't have a hammer. They equipped his Shadow Spear, that's fine. Yeah, I had no qualms with that, because now we can play our non-lands pretty freely. I'll play Ancient Stirrings looking for a land. There's the Temple. Any order. I'll play a Rumble, because we'll still have X2 available for the command, though, actually. Yeah, we'll Rumble. This also gets us closer to Emrakul. Double Flesh Rake once again, very good. So I'll go Flesh Rake. 5 card types in Yard, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're one short on the Emrakul. I'll pass, and we have Command in hand, which will get us our last 2 types that we need. So I think we sit back, and we threaten to kill the Pure Steel. I think we just let it through. Yep, that's fine. Down to 8. Haywire Might is fine. End step. So I'm going to Kozilek's command X equals 2 to exile the Pure Steel. Done. Do you have something to protect it? You do not. Pure Steel down. 7 types in Yard. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we should be able to Flesh Rake here first. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 minus 2 would be 11, so we can't play the second Flesh Rake. And white. That way it's uncounterable. And then our turn, comrade. With Haywire Might, we can exile their own Sigarda's Aid. So they might want to activate Might now to exile either Shadow Spear or their Opal. And then next turn we can go pretty deep with the Flesh Rake and Command as well. We're thinking of paying cost for something, but what? Okay, Might, sack, target Opal. I think that is correct. Alright, our turn, comrade. We see another Opal and a Sigarda's Aid. No reason to play any of those. I guess now, I mean, an Opal's an Opal's an Opal. So go to main, play Opal, play Opal, sacrifice an Opal, go to combat, attack with Thop, and block with Emrakul. I don't think there's anything else for us to do here. This does mean Metalcraft's offline, so the Opal's dead, and we'll pass. And pass. So no threats on board, and none in hand either. And opponent scoops it up. So that was hammer time. Win for game 1. So let's take a look-see. So Haywire Might good. Could argue Pithy Needle, but Sigarda's Aid gets around it. Force of Vigor good. Thief of Existence isn't bad either. Can get rid of Hammer, can get rid of Opal, stuff like that, right? Dismember's also good. Especially like for an Inkmoth Nexus, we only have one flyer. So that is a little bit concerning. So maybe these 6. We can cut only 2 halfling, anything less, and then we end up with under 12, which is the minimum for force. We cut a Ballista, cut an Emrakul. Cut an Agatha Soul Cauldron, maybe just 1 Dismember for now. I guess Cavern of Souls isn't actually all too relevant in this matchup. But it does cut down on a green source for Basking Broodscale, so a little bit give and take there, but it's not as impactful as it doesn't seem like they're playing blue for counter magic. Whereas Boseju's still very impactful and Gemstone is as well. So I think we do this then. On the draw for game 2. We are missing a green source, but we do run 11 of them again. So once again, 20% chance per draw. I will keep this. And I will hold up the ability to respond in the off chance this force is necessary. There's the Esper Sentinel. That's all they play, that's fine. There's a Might. Might is good and does not get taxed, so I'll play it. Again, still need a green source. There's a Saga. If they can find the hammer, there's boots. Passing, I doubt they attack. I mean, feels like bait. But I will block. If they want to bait it out, be my guest. I don't know why they would offer me this. Because now they have to use a protection spell. Defend the rider. In response, target. Yes, they draw a card. I think we pitch Rumble or Halfling. Actually, Stirrings are Halfling. I think we pitch Stirrings. Yeah, they'll draw a card. Unfortunate. No. And no. But like, we just 3-for-1 them here? Opponent just types in response to that, alright. I mean, I don't know why they would offer me that trade. I'm a bit confused by it, not gonna lie. You have a command now, which I'm happy to see. So I'll attack with might. And then pass. I'll hold up the command. There's a land. Plains. Stoneforge. The question now becomes, do we hold... So they go Colossus Hammer. That tells me that they likely have Sigarda's Aid. Or a Pure Steel. So do I hold the command? And hope for a land? I think I do. Draw. Double command. That's a bit unfortunate. Well, I think we just hold then, or do we try and dig for a green source? Because clearly I have hammer. I'll dig for a green source. Don't need another command, thank you. I'll take the temple. It more or less replaces itself, so that kind of works. Again, though, would like a green source. So I imagine we see Sigarda's Aid. Witchblessed Meadow. Bolt. Pure Steel. Short one for the Metalcraft. There's Hammer. Do you have another artifact? Could be an Opal, could be a Thopter. They do not. So we can exile the Pure Steel next turn. Saga trigger, tap. And we'll grab a Blade of the Blood Chief. Play Saga. While they're tapped, we should exile the Pure Steel. I guess I could equip Blade to Might. 2, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Might as well. We're going to sack the spawn. Maybe we shouldn't sack the spawn and just hold it. Probably would have been more correct. And exile. So no more pure steel. We already have a blade, so bottom. Rumble, top. Grove, top, and draw. And at this point, we can pass. And pass. So we can Thief of Existence next turn, get rid of that hammer. Another pure steel, that's fine. And a second hammer, a bit less fine. They can now equip it all to Stoneforge, which is equally okay. Oh, I guess they boots. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. A bit awkward, I'll admit. So I think we just take the 11. So we go Grove, we can Thief take a hammer at least. So go to blocks, we have to block regardless. So we'll take the 11. Down to 9, blade triggers. Draw, another rumble. Saga trigger. Grove of the Burn Willows. Thief of Existence, I'll take a Colossus Hammer. Can't be having none of that. We have a blocker now for the Stoneforge. Opponent's Tinkin. I guess alternatively I could have just haywired the hammer and then made a construct. Kind of same idea, different way of executing. I think this is fine. We have nothing else to play, so we'll just pass. I want to attack in case it's necessary for me to block. They won't attack the Paladin because it risks them just losing it. But right now they thankfully don't have Metalcraft. Stand corrected, they're going to have Metalcraft. Ooh, they might grab Shadow Spirit, yeah. So now they equip Shadow Spirit and Boots to Stoneforge. Flooded Strand, fetch. Uh-oh, I think we might be dead. Sentinel's fine. Oh, interesting. Why? I guess you can equip Hammer to that instead. That's 14. We can mitigate 4 down to 10, so we have to block with both. Okay. So maybe it was right to exile with Might to gain life? And then Construct? Maybe. We can mitigate 6. Oh, I think it's still lethal, isn't it? Yeah, I think it might be because of the Stoneforge. Yes. Oh. Awkward. Okay. Well, I will cut the gem, or bring back the gemstone. Or bring back the caverns, cut the gemstone. And then run it back. Yeah, that second pure steel made things a bit awkward. Yeah, it would have been at 11. I guess it really wouldn't have changed all too much. I think it would have been the same amount of damage. In fact, I think they would have been able to deal more if I had used the might. On the play for game 3. Okay, I mean, we have a turn 3 win here. We'll keep this. Because we go Saga. On turn 3, we go Saga, pass. Saga, pass. Prismatic Vista, fetch green, Broodscale, pass. Springleaf. Draw. Temple, Saga Trigger, Prismatic Vista, fetch for green, for forest. Broodscale, pass. So if we do get another turn of Broodscale on board with no interaction from opponent, we'll be able to get Blade of the Bloodchief, equip it to Broodscale, play Ballista. Actually, won't we just be able to... Yeah. So we're fine. Sigarda's Aid? Sure. Then passing. Draw. Thief. Oh no. I passed through the trigger to... That's fine. Annoying, but still fine. Because, yeah, if I had done that, I could have equipped it. It's still okay. Annoying, but fine. So now Ballista X equals 0. Trigger. Always yield. Always yes. Always yield. So now we'll make... I don't know. Just infinite mana. Opponent's gonna scoop it. So, theoretically speaking, we make 40 mana, play a Ballista 2020, and then ping down. So, yeah, I made a slight misplay by passing through the Saga trigger to tap it. Finger slipped, unfortunately, because that way we would have been able to equip it, adapt it, etc. But it worked out since we had 2 Ballista. Though, could have been a costly mistake had I not had double Ballista in hand. That said, we'll be back for match 4. Alright, enter back for match 4 on the draw for game 1. We have Gemstone Cavern, which is good. We have Saga. So all we're missing here is a Basking Broodscale. I will keep this. I'll play the Caverns. I'll exile Emrakul, and just to confirm that we're not on the play, we'll pass. So yes, ideally here we go Saga, and by turn 3 we find the Basking Broodscale. If we do, we win. Draw. There's a temple. I'll play Saga Trigger. Is there a reason not to play the Ballista? The Ballista is one way to win, the command is another. So I think we will just go Ballista. No reason to be too hesitant. Next turn we can command X2 if we need. But the nice thing about the Ballista on board is we can ping something down of relevance. Hedge Maze would tell me it's one of 2 things. The second Rainforest tells me it's probably Grinding Station. Saga. Yes. We were right on the money. Not thrilled by that prospect. So we're going to hold up a command X2. And we will attack with the ballista. So Command X2 can exile something from yard if needed. Otherwise, on end step, we can make a construct. I guess we could also Command X2 to try and scry draw into the Broodscale. I mean, we kind of just want to end the game, don't we? Tempting. I will make a construct. Construct trigger. Let's see what we draw into. I will float. Yeah, I'll float. Haywire Might. Trigger. The unfortunate truth is that doesn't make much sense to attempt to exile the grinding station. So it might just be worth going Saga again. Attacking with the ballista is kind of mid. So, I mean, there's one other option I could. Might Saga. Strips them of a land, forces them to go for a construct. I mean, I'm just more worried about a Underworld Breach. So I think we just pass and attack with construct. The ballista isn't a good option as it will be blocked by an X2. So attack with a construct. And pass. Pass. I mean, if they fetch here, we could make it so they don't get a construct, they don't get a land. We still have an X1 command available. Maybe attacking ballista was okay if we do this. Yeah, in retrospect, probably was. I guess it would have resulted in the same amount of damage, simple point. So exile the Saga now. This way they can't make a construct, they can't search, they can't make another construct. And we still have X1 command if it becomes relevant. Here's Thundering Falls. And passing. Fetch of the Scouting Tarn. The good news is right now, Opal's offline as well as Amber. Spellbomb's kind of meh. Okay, Opal's now online. Less exciting. Okay, this tells me a lot. Well, they don't have the breach on board yet, so we'll wait. Do you have the breach? You do. Exile the Opal. The problem here is that they can just eventually find another. So Opal down, and at this point we pass as we have no other recourse. Yeah, I mean, it probably was correct for us just to hold the might. I may have gotten a bit ambitious by exiling. They hadn't shown us the opal the entire time, so I was hoping that maybe we'd be okay. Clearly not the case. Yeah, so I'd say that's a misplay on my part by not holding the might for the breach. No, we could only hold that for so long, I suppose, but if we held it long enough, it wouldn't have been an issue. Yeah, so we should have held. 'Tis my mistake, but we'll have them go off at this point, burn some time on the clock, as well as show us their win conditions. Sideboard-wise, we do have a decent amount for them. The question is what we want to bring in without overboarding. So, like, we have Dismember, we have Jailer. Thief is a bit slow, unfortunately. Because, like, yeah, I can hit Grinding Station, sure. There's also Dampening Sphere, Soul Guide Lantern, Vexing Baubles. Like, we have a ton for this matchup. The question now is what? Graph-Digger's Cage is also an option. Like, we have so much that we can bring in. Oh. I mean, Jailer and Cage. Turn off Emery. Bauble makes it so they can't play opals, but they can play other things, so kind of meh. Is it meh though? Or is it good enough? If no mana was spent. I mean, it only hits the opals, the baubles, and the... Yeah, opals, baubles, and ambers. Which isn't a few things, it's a lot. Cage Jailer seems good. Might is okay. I'm trying to think, do I bring in Might with the Eldrazi ramp? Grinding Station. No, I really don't. Yeah, because Might kind of is a bit mid. So, probably don't bring in the Might. Maybe cut out the Might in favor of the Cage. So, Jailer, Cage. Dampening Sphere is good here, but like, it doesn't really slow down their setup at all. It just stops them from killing us. Okay. But yeah, that was definitely a misplay on my part. I think I got just a bit aggressive in wanting to get rid of the Saga. So, Jailer, yes. Cage, yes. Cut the Might. We'll be on the play, so cut Cavern. Dismember feels like yes. Cut number of Halfling, Ballista, Emrakul, and we have room for one more. Do we go for Dampening Sphere? Does that really hurt them too much? Like, yeah, it stops the combo in the same way Jailer or Cage does. Just by taxing them, but could they even play through the tax? No, not really. Other option is like a Soul Guide Lantern. Soul Guide might be correct. Like, Cage is probably better. Dismember good, Jailer good, Cage good. Maybe just keep the third halfling then. Yeah, I wonder if Bobble has its place here or not. We'll run it like this. Trying to think if there's anything else. Like, we could argue Force. I know in Gruul we bring in Nature's Claim, right? Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't be bringing Nature's Claim. Maybe I should be bringing in Dismembers there as well, actually. Probably correct. So I'll update that in the guide. On the play for game 2. I mean, hopefully I don't have to think about this matchup too hard going forward. So, right now, what are we missing for the kill? We have the blade. We need a Broodscale and then a win condition in the way of a Ballista or a Kozilek's command. I'll keep it. I mean, even if infinite Broodscale is something that they would have to fear. So even if we don't have a win condition, the Broodscale itself could just be the win condition, right? As well as the spawn. So go to main. So we just need the Broodscale. Fetch Forest, Halfling, and pass. And pass. Draw. Saga. I mean, Saga can grab the cage. So we'll go Saga. Play Blade. Hold up Dismember. Go to combat. And hold up the ability to respond. There's an Amber. Do you have a Tameo? Or an Emery? There's Tameo. There's Saga Trigger. In response, Dismember. Pass. They can tap the Amber, so they'll have 2 mana regardless. Okay. Trigger. I mean, maybe we just go Saga Beats here. Play another Saga. Go to combat with Halfling. And like I said, just go Saga Beats. Amber's still offline. And next turn we get Graph Diggers for Emery if they play Emery. Hedge Maze, Opal, and Yard. Looks like that's all they have. End step. Saga. Make a construct. Draw. Triggers. I will make a construct. Search for Graph Digger's Cage. Trigger. And I will play Temple. Unfortunately, I can't then make another construct this turn. What I can do, though, is play... Is there a reason for me to do so? We could just hold up an X1, threaten... Well, I guess there is a reason in the way of making the construct bigger. And I suppose at that point you might as well just equip a blade. And then go to combat. Hit you for 5. They've actually been right to equip blade to other construct in case of a Unholy Heat, I suppose? But yes, now they have to deal with Cage. Now they can do so here by grabbing Might. That's the one downside of Cage versus, let's say, Soulish Jailer. Since it is a non-creature, Might can exile it. So I'm not horribly thrilled by that prospect. Maybe that is why we should have multiple hate pieces in the 1-drop slot, so Cage plus Bauble. Yeah, I could see that argument. So maybe that's why we should have brought in Bauble as well. Because at least Bauble does, once again, shut off Amber, Opal, and Bauble, which means they can't go for the combo. And if we have 2 pieces which are fetchable by Saga, okay. So yes, I think I should have probably brought in Bauble. If we go to game 3, I will bring in Bauble. Maybe cutting a Blade of the Blood Chief? Because I feel like Blade... Maybe not. I'll have to figure that one out. It feels awkward cutting part of the combo and making it less consistent. Because, like, Blade is necessary. Ballista, not as much, right? Did they fail to find? What has happened? It doesn't say they failed to find. But I also don't see anything on board. Heh. I feel like my opponent's just as confused. So I'm not sure what has happened. There's no Might, there's no invisible card. Nature's Claim on Saga, that's fine. I mean, don't we have lethal? No, we don't have lethal damage. There's the grinding station. So we're 1 short of lethal damage. Oh, that will do it. So, play Blade of the Blood Chief. That's lethal damage unless they have a way to kill the constructs. They have 1, 2, 3, 4. So they do have Delirium for... whatchamacallit. They do have Delirium for Unholy Heat to kill a construct, though. So if they have that, they're still in the game, but that leaves them with only 1 card left in hand, and again, they need to deal with the Cage? I mean, I guess I'll just equip the blades to... Oh, I think opponent's scooping, or is Moto lagging? Opponent scoops, okay. So, that is a win for game 2. Bring in the gemstone, bring in the bauble. Is Cavern of Souls relevant? Yes, because of Consigned to Memory. So we can cut a Agatha Soul Cauldron, and I guess the 3rd halfling. Yeah, we'll do it that way. Like, Agatha Soul Cauldron's also relevant. It is, you know, targeted graveyard hate. But I think having a 2nd card to fetch with Saga is right. What's better than 1 hate piece? 2 hate pieces, right? And I guess most times the things that Emery is going to be pulling from Yard is Bauble. I'll keep... Okay, so this here is a turn 3 win? Yes. This is a turn 3 win. The question then becomes if they win on turn 3, right? Yeesh. Okay. I mean, they need a red source. They need red, grinding station, and... Okay. I mean, there's Cage turn 1. Cage turn 1 would stop them. I mean, so I guess the question is, do we just go for the win, or we make sure we don't lose, right? Because if we go Blade, turn 1, turn 2, Broodscale, we would need a third land. But if we get a third land, we can equip Blade, adapt Broodscale, generate infinite mana, Walking Ballista for the win. So I think we go Forest and play Blade. We'll go for the win. If we don't see the third land, at least we have a backup plan, right? They attack with Tameo. They do have the red source now. There's Fleshraker. So no third land yet. I'll go for a waste. Let's go for it. There's the Broodscale. All I need now is a third land and we win. And it's possible they just win on turn 3. Maybe there's an argument that we should have put down a hate piece, because then at least it pushes us closer. It gives us more time. Because they need land, grinding station, breach. And they win. Bobble. Breach. Grape shot. Okay, that's fine. So now we move towards, instead of winning, we move towards the hate plan. I'd still like a land. Draw. Paying cost for what? Oh, bobble. Okay. That way they can Tameo flip. Yes, that makes sense. Okay, well, they know about bobble now. So we could play 2 hate pieces here. They know about bobble, but not about cage. So I'll play bobble. Do they have a counter spell? So they need a consign specifically. I guess Swan Song as well as an option. The only thing that majorly concerns me is the fact that they're going to flip Tameo next turn. We don't really have a good way of dealing with that. We really need a land, is what we need. Opponent's thinking hard on this one. The next question is, do we play Cage or we play Stirrings as follow-up? I think we go Stirrings for land. And then Cage. So I'll Stirrings. There's Broodscale. The problem with Broodscale now is that we can't win. No, we can. Yes, we can win next turn if we go if we draw into a land. So I will grab the Broodscale. Now we need a land off the top, and now we pass. Because we go Broodscale, equip Blade, cast Ballista X0, trigger Blade. Interesting, they didn't flip Tameo. I guess they can still flip Tameo by attacking. So yes, we need a land off the top in order for us to win. Otherwise, I think we still play the Broodscale regardless. They crack, they flip the Tameo, that's fine. They plus. The one thing I'll say about Vexing Bauble is that Malevolent Rumble does get around it. Okay, land. There's the land. So if we play the land now, play the Broodscale. We equip the blade. Unholy Heat. Unholy Heat. Okay, well, it is what it is, so we'll pass then. Fetch with a Scouting Tarn. There's the Hedge Maze. I guess I would Nature... Oof. That could spell disaster, unfortunately. And we tried for the win. Just wasn't able to get there. So now what's the question? If they win, they win. Nothing we can do about it. Given that they're going to bobble, I don't think they win here. Do they plus Tamiyo or no? That's the next question. Ideally, we draw into a land, because then we can Flesh Rake into Cage. There's Grinding Station. Do they have the Breach? I think they do. Either that, because no, they don't, but what they will do is minus Tamiyo to grab Rumble. Yeah. Yep. So now it comes down to whether or not they see Breach off the Rumble. They do not. What do they pick? I imagine Tamiyo or Saga? I guess Saga for beats. Spellbomb for Soulish Jailer. Pick Spellbomb. Play Spellbomb. So it means that Jailer is a little bit more meh here. I would like a land still. Land. Command. Command is not good enough. So let's play the Soulish Jailer first. See if this gets countered by a Consign. Because this is the weakest into the board right now because of Spellbomb, so I'm just trying to bait them to use their counter magic if they have it. Because if they use it on this, and then we can play the Cage, then we're at least safe. Whereas we played Cage first, then Jailer, they could always just bounce the Jailer, right? So it comes down to whether or not our opponent makes a mistake here. Draws a card with a Spellbomb, so that's interesting to me. Perfect. Now we play Cage and pass. So this effectively does stop the combo again. But we need to deal this Tamiyo soon. Plus Tamiyo. Sack the Scouting Tarn. There's an Emery. Thankfully, Cage stops Emery. Now, the only problem is Tamiyo can grab Flame. I need a colorless source is what I need. Actually, yes, a colorless source is what I need. So, Temple. Grove. Man, how is it that I have 23 lands and so far we've only seen 4? That's kind of nutty. And one of them is from the Prismatic Vista. So yeah, we just been drawing like garbage. Yeah, because they can return an instant or sorcery of Tameo. And Flame of Anor would then allow them. We'll play the Flesh Rake. I mean, I could play the Ballista, but what does that do? I guess maybe, Was there an argument to play Ballista X1 to ping Tameo for one? Potentially. I'll pass. Yeah, maybe that would have been the correct play. Because then they wouldn't be able to grab back the flame. I mean, I guess the good question is, will they? They don't. This gives me another turn, then. I need a land, for the love of God. You know what? This is fine. We can play the blade. Always yield. Always yield. Triggers the grinding station. So now currently we're at x equals 1. We can equip the blade to the glaring flesh rake, or I can go command x2 next turn. The benefit of equipping the blade to the flesh rake is they can't then block with Emery, right? So equip blade to flesh rake. As long as we have x equals 1, we should be fine. Ballista x0 triggers. Always yield. We now go to combat to attack the Tameo. Bottom line, we can't let Tameo flip, or not flip, but ult. So they offer the spawn. That's fine. Triggers. And pass. And hold up the ability to respond in case they minus with Tameo now. Because we can exile the target. Yeah, I think that was correct, so we could apply pressure to Tameo. While also holding up enough for command. That way they can't just grab back the flame. This is an interesting game. Very tight game, I think. One mistake is going to change it all. Spellbomb can flip back Flesh Rake. Yeah. But you can't cast it. Yeah, so that doesn't matter. I just said a mistake will change the course of the game, and I think that is the mistake. They forgot about Graph Digger. They plus with Tameo. Okay. Interesting. Draw. Emrakul. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11. If we drew ourselves specifically into a temple, we would win. I'm going to equip a blade to a spawn. Again, we need to threaten this Tamio. So I'll attack Tamio. Tamio takes a hit to 4. At this point, I will pass. I guess I could have put Tamio down to 2, but I think this was fine. Yes. Okay. We could x equals 1 here, put 2 types into yard, and replace the spawn me sack. Let's do that. And done. We don't want the burn willows. Another blade. Jesus. And I think we have lethal here then. Prismatic Vista. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Fetch with Vista. Forest. Play a Blade of the Blood Chief. Equip Blade to spawn. And then go to combat, attack, and attack. Triggers. You have to block with Emery at this point. So I can sack 1, 2, 3. That'll give me 6 exactly. So sack triggers. Sack triggers. Sack triggers. To damage. And we got there. Good stuff. Whew. All right. Well, on to match 5. All right, and we're back for match 5 on the draw for game 1. I mean, yeah, we keep this, right? We go Gemstone, Halfling, Waste, Broodscale, keep. Gemstone, Exile, Halfling, and pass. Fetch. Okay, so it looks like energy. Oh, nope, I'm wrong. This is Storm. I mean, you could go Saga for Might eventually. Regardless, I'm trying to think here. We play Broodscale now. We can play Blade and attach it. No, actually, no. Hold on. If we play Broodscale now, next turn we can play Blade, attach it, but nothing else. We only have 3 mana versus 4. Okay, so yes, I think we will cast Halfling. And regardless of whether or not we play Saga or Waste, we do grab Blade. I think we do go Saga. Cast Blade, and now we hope they don't win on the spot on turn 2. Ugh. There's Medallion. Do they have the Ritual? There's Rouse. They don't have the win. Okay. Draw. Temple. So we do have a slight problem now. I can play Basking Broodscale. I can equip the Blade. Right. Play Basking Broodscale, equip the Blade. But then nothing else after? Or 1 mana short, right? Or 1 green mana short, to be exact. Ugh. So we could go Stirrings. To what end, though? Let me just make sure one more time. Play Broodscale, equip. Then we have 1 mana left over to do nothing. So yes, I think we do cast Stirrings here. Well, we can grab the second green source for the next turn. For what it's worth. In fact, we can just go Prismatic Vista now. Play Forest. And play Broodscale. And equip Blade. So, like, the good news here is, next turn, we have infinite mana, but no win con. We need either Command or Ballista, and we need to have our opponent not win right now. So that is the problem. There's the Ren's Resolve, so there's a ritual, not a ritual, an impulse draw. There's a ritual. How many more impulse draws do they have, though? There's the ritual. That's 2 for Ral. They need 4 more. Do they have another impulse draw? Okay. Not sure this makes sense. I guess they were trying to flip the Ral to kill the Broodscale. Yes, I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. Oh, maybe we shouldn't have cast the Broodscale then. Next turn we would have had 5, so we could have done that regardless. I guess no. Well, yeah. It's possible they also just win here, because now it's 6, which means they can flip the Ral. Now they could just kill the Broodscale, but they also could just go for the win. They're going for the win. I mean, we'll just let them play it out. Yeah. So we were unfortunately a bit off the turn 3. Oof. Well, we'll just let them go off. Burn the clock. No reason for us not to. They have Past in Flames in Yard. There's the rituals. It's also possible they just mess up, right? You've seen it happen before. Sideboard-wise, we might as well look at our sideboard plan here, right? So we have Soulless Jailer, we have Damping Sphere. Vexing Bobble's kinda cute. Grafdigger's Cage is nice, but is it necessary? Like, it specifically will hit Past in Flames, right? Well, that's about it. Yeah, so probably just Jailer, Sphere. We could bring in Dismember for Ral. We already have Might for Medallion. Is that too much? We also could bring in Thief for Medallion. But then we don't have as much for Ral. Soul Guy Lantern's an option, but most competent Storm players should be able to play around Graveyard Hate. Yeah, either way is like, whether it's Dismember, Thief, or Might, it's just playing into a 50-50. Whether it be Medallion or Ral. There's the Ren's Resolve. Are we not dead yet? I feel like we should be dead. What? How? Confusion? I am confusion. Draw. Beseiju. How does this read? Cast a legendary spell. Is an activated ability, not a spell. So, like, I can... I think we just float. Yeah? Float. Find Might. We can exile the Medallion. But let's first adapt the Broodscale. So now we have infinite mana and an infinitely big Broodscale. Yes. So we do this. Always yield. So we'll make a, I guess, a 12-12 Broodscale. Oh, well, if we then switch over to Halfling, we sack. I guess I can't make an infinitely big Halfling. I would have needed another, whatchamacallit, blade, right? To do that? So did I mess up there? Kind of, I guess? Because we can switch the blade to Halfling. We can sacrifice the spawn, but then what? I mean, it makes it a bit bigger, sure. Would that have been better than the Might? It's like we can swap blade the Halfling, sacrifice the Might, and then get rid of the Medallion. One. Sacrifice Might to get rid of Medallion. So that will trigger. And then swap back the Broodscale, question mark? I mean, I guess actually it's going to trigger again. So I can sacrifice the spawn to grow the Halfling. Swap back the Broodscale. And then just play the Temple, go to combat. They're forced to block the Broodscale. I suppose at that point we pass. So maybe it would have been right to grab a second blade and use the Basaju instead. At least that way we could have threatened an infinite halfling as well. Yeah, in retrospect, that seems correct. Because right now, we gave them basically 2 turns rather than just 1. There's a ritual. I guess they can ritual then Past in Flames. They're relying off the top now though, right? So maybe it doesn't matter. Or rather wouldn't have mattered if we used Basaju or. Opponent scoops it up. Okay, we somehow got there. Win for game 1. So yeah, I do think I did make a mistake though. Good news, I don't think it mattered. So Jailer, yes. Dampening Sphere, yes. Cavernous Souls is not needed. And we can cut Ballista Emrakul. So as is, we can keep it like this. The next question is what else we bring in. If we reference our guide from Eldrazi Ramp, I mean, normally bring in Chalice, EE, Jailer, and Dismember. So maybe 2 copies of Dismember would be good. Yeah, we'll go with Dismember. And maybe cut 2 Halflings. And run it like this. I guess the alternative to Dismember is Force. That way we could get rid of the Artist talent as well as the Ruby Medallion. What's more impactful, the Row or the Ruby Medallion? Probably the Row since it can flip, so I'll submit it like this. Well, there's Dampening Sphere, but we're short on lands. We have 2 draws and 22 lands, so we have a 33% chance per draw. So, like, the chances are pretty high. I'll keep it. And pass. And draw. There's a Saga. Can Saga get us a turn 3? Yes. But, well, okay, so if we go Saga, land, Burn Willows, Broodscale. So yes, it gets us a turn 3, but it means that they get a turn 3. If we were on the play, I think that would be correct. On the draw, though, I think we do go over the Burn Willows here, and then pass. And then play Damp Sphere next turn. Because at this point, now we just need enough turns to ensure we survive to kill them, right? And pass. So now we set up a turn 4, ideally. Draw. Saga trigger. Cast a Dampening Sphere and pass. And pass. So now they need removal. We ideally do want to find a land. Draw. We do find the land. So at this point we can Broodscale. You could also Rumble Broodscale, but I think we just Broodscale here. And then pass. I guess we couldn't Rumble Broodscale because of Damning Sphere, so better that we went Broodscale. Okay, so this should be the win then. Yes. So we find the Blade of the Bloodchief. We equip it the Broodscale. We adapt the Broodscale. Paying for cost Path to Exile. That was unexpected. Yes. I guess we couldn't have played the Ballista. So yeah, we'll grab the Forest. No adapt. At this point we pass. So now what I need is another land. If we get another land, we win. Okay, there's the medallion. Land. There's the land. So, Prismatic Vista fetch. For another forest. Cast Broodscale. Equip Broodscale. Cast Ballista, X equals 0. Do you have another path? Trigger. Always yield. Paying cost, Manamorphose. They're looking for interaction. Always yes, and always yield. So I've played 2 spells, so I have a 2 mana tax. At this point, we need to command X equals 48. Yes. Or rather, it'll cost us 50 mana. I mean, if they have an orange chant here, would it matter? If they had a path, they already would have used it. I feel like they had an orange chant, they would have as well, though I guess it doesn't matter. We need to go to 50 mana. That way we can just go through our entire deck. They're finally paying cost. Manamorphose. Why wait to Manamorphose? That's a good question, right? So 50 will guarantee that we can look through our entire deck for a win con. And pretty much set up our entire hand next turn, or entire game. So cast command. I wish there was a button just to use all mana. That would be nice. Almost there. And done. So at this point, we see our entire deck. We don't need lands. So lands go to bottom. We don't need search abilities, so those go to bottom. We don't need halfling. No more halflings needed. Rumble's not needed. But Seiju's not needed. No Vista. Still don't need Vista. Wish I could like multi-select. Can I multi-select? No. That'd make my life too easy. Saga bottom. Or the Burn Willows bottom. We don't need Might. We don't need Stirrings. We don't need the Waste. And don't need the Emrakul either. Don't need the Soulish Jailer. Don't need a Soulish Jailer. Or the Aggie Soul. So all we'll do here now is go Glaring Flesh top. So we'll go, yeah, at this point we can go top, 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 and then top. Cast Glaring Flesh Raker. So now we can play Flesh Rake. Resolve. And always yield. Can I repeat that? No. Alright, and that is the game. We did get there. But we're just kind of here for the journey. And by putting the command on top, basically that ensured that next turn, if needed, if they somehow interact with this in a way that resulted in them and me not winning, then we could have just done it again next turn without issue. And that there will be the win for game. Is this 2 or 3? I think this is 2, isn't it? I still don't know how he didn't lose game 1, I'll be completely honest. That was kind of wild to me. And 1. And we got there. Solid stuff. So, another 4-1 at the end of today's league. Again, feeling more and more comfortable with the deck. Our only loss was the Hollow one, which felt pretty rough, especially as both games we had the win in hand. Overall, while it is a small sample size, I mean, the deck's currently sitting at 68% win rate across, 25 games? So I'm starting to think that maybe this deck is underrepresented in the meta, which is interesting to me, and could also explain the high conversion rate that it has. Interesting. I wonder if this is just like another example of Titan, but like it's not really complicated to play. And honestly, it feels pretty straightforward, even more so than like Yogg. It has just as many lines to victory and plays some of the best cards in the format in the way of Kozilek's command. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder why this deck isn't played more. Fascinating. Either ways, we should have enough data by next Monday to start making some changes to see what cards are working, what cards are not. Make some slight adaptations, whether that be adding a Traverse the Uvenwald, maybe adding something to protect our Broodscale. So, all good things to consider. But with that being said, that there will be the end of today's video. As always, if you guys did enjoy this video, please do consider hitting the like button. Comment down below if you did see any mistakes that I made, any lines that I missed, or just some general feedback. It is always appreciated, especially as I am hoping that you all learn from me in both my successes and my failures. I'm hoping that I can learn from you all as well. Last but not least, if you have reached this point in the video and haven't already, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. We're getting closer and closer to our next goal of 1,000 subscribers. With that being said, folks, I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye!